In honor of soup season, I'm here to bring you a taco soup, and this one is a keto-friendly recipe. Here's our cast of characters with ranch seasoning, taco seasoning, meat, whole kernel corn, ranch-style beans, some chili stewed tomatoes, black beans, a can of Rotel, and some water. And here are a few ingredients not pictured: green chilies, hominy, and some beef bouillon cubes. That was my look of shame because I could not believe that I left them out of the ingredient photo. This was actually a crazy hectic day for me, so this was the perfect recipe to make. I'm not just using beef here. I'm going to do 1 pound of beef and 1 pound of deer, and the beef that I like to use is 90-10, and deer is super lean as well. So for this reason, that will keep my fat content low, and I don't have to drain the meat, and I won't have to rinse it. But if you do use meat with a higher fat content, you're going to want to rinse that meat or drain the grease off of it. So I simply got all my ingredients ready. You can see on the right there, I have all my cans opened up, and now I'm just opening the beef and the deer. This is one of those recipes that you really don't have to babysit. You're going to open a bunch of cans and you're going to put it all together in one pot, and you're going to let it simmer for about 30 minutes. The only real cooking that you have to do is at the very beginning right now, where we are browning our meat. And I don't know, that's not really anything strenuous. And if you're curious about my day and why it was crazy, well, right now I'm going to have a quick snack. This is a zero sugar A&W, and they are great. And here's some of the Chex Mix that I made yesterday. So good. Okay, back to my crazy hectic day. So my children had dentist appointments this morning, and I knew I was going to be there for several hours. So I took my laptop and made sure I was able to do my work. There's the lean beef and deer meat I was telling you about. And I'm just going to work right here to break it up really well. I don't like large chunks of meat in anything like that. If I'm going to use ground meat, I like it to be broken up very well. And you can see that there. And I'm just going to let it brown and cook. So back to the dentist. We sat there for a few hours, and after they were finished, I had to go. See, there's the meat browned, and I'm about to add my dry seasonings, which is the ranch and the taco seasoning. So we had to go to Walmart, we had to do some grocery shopping, and then I had to come home, and I started working on this soup during that space of time. And then in the middle of it, I had to take one of my children to basketball practice. So I was literally running the roads for a hot second, but that's okay. Like, I'm showing you real life, and I'm showing you how these recipes will fit into your life. So I added the 2 cubes of beef bouillon and of course the dry seasoning packets, and I like to do this with no liquid in there, and I really want all of those seasonings to coat the meat. That heat, when it hits the pan, it really is aromatic, and it just really gets deep into the meat and creates a good flavor. And so I like to make sure that happens before I add any liquid or any of my other ingredients. Now it's time to literally just dump in the cans of ingredients. So I started with some of the stewed tomatoes, and now I'm going to add 2 little bitty cans of green chilies. Personally, I don't use canned vegetables very often. I really like frozen vegetables, but in this soup, it really doesn't matter. The flavor is great either way. And another great thing is you don't have to drain any of these. So this whole kernel corn is going in with all of the juice. Same thing with our black beans. The same thing, of course, with our Rotel. But it's the same thing with our ranch style beans. And so we're going to use all of that liquid. It's going to help make the soup, as well as liquid with the hominy. So no draining required, no rinsing. It's just all going to go in one big pot. Fun fact, the first time I remember ever having hominy and really not knowing what it was is when my 3rd grade teacher made taco soup for the class. Look at all those beautiful colors. Now I'm about to mix it all together. But first, I'm going to add my water. So yeah, her name was Miss Buford. She was my 3rd grade teacher, and she made taco soup for the class and Mexican cornbread, and I still remember it to this day. And that's one of the reasons why when I was a teacher, I like to cook for my students a lot. Connecting over food is just so special. Now that everything is in the pot and it's mixed, I'm just going to bring it to a boil. And then once it starts boiling pretty good, I'm going to lower that heat and let it simmer for 30 minutes to let all of those flavors combine. And I like to pop a lid on it. I usually leave a little bit of a crack in the lid, and While that's taking place, I like to get my topping station ready. So the first thing I'm starting with is I'm chopping some green onions. I just really like the freshness that green onion will bring to a finished bowl of soup. And then, of course, taco soup, anything Mexican or Hispanic related, I think a good squeeze of lime just puts it over the edge. We're going to get some creaminess in here with this avocado. And once you pop the seed out, you can take a spoon and scoop it out and cut it into slices, which I do a little bit later. And then red onion. Whenever I'm eating raw onion, I prefer red onion over white. I just like to dice it up pretty small, and that way there's not like giant chunks of onion, but it just gives a really nice flavor. I'm going to put a little bit of cheddar cheese on my topping board so that anyone can add that. I don't know of anyone who wouldn't want to add that onto the top of their taco soup. And then I'm going to put some cilantro, some fresh cilantro, which always adds nice brightness and flavor. Here is what the little topping board looks like. And I also have sour cream to the side. So I'm going to scoop myself a nice bowl of this taco soup, and I'm going to layer on some of these toppings. Now, I don't show it here because this is the keto version, of course, but you can put this over corn chips, which is the way that I grew up eating it. And if you're trying to remain keto friendly, then you can always measure that. Make sure you stay within your 50 grams a day, or you can take a 0-carb or low-carb tortilla and crisp that up, and you could use that as well. So I'm just layering all these toppings on there, and I'm going to show you guys how beautiful this soup is once it's finished. And I hope you enjoy it.